Hey guys, today we have the one and only McLaren 570s. So, is this base model McLaren a bargain or a ticking time bomb? I'm gonna let you know. Starting off with exterior front end styling of the McLaren 570s. First, I have to point out this paint. It is beautiful and gleaming in the sun. It has hints of yellow and green in there. And like this is like the flagship McLaren color. That's what you see every logo in and things like that. It's just this bright orange and it really is like a standout McLaren piece. So first we have our massive windshield kind of going over the top a little bit, followed by our huge windshield wipers. Once again, they keep that flowing even into their newer models, these same exact windshield wipers. It is like extremely big and then has this double kind of one mechanism going on right there. And if we move on down, this does have a front trunk. Yay! Even supercars have front trunks. Love that. It's so practical. And then we follow with our, of course, McLaren headlights that are the same design as the McLaren logo. And then we follow with our pointy front end design that also they have kept through their new model years. They haven't really changed a whole bunch when just making new ones of these kinds of cars. Moving along the side of this McLaren here, first we do have carbon ceramics, which are standard on this car. And then moving down, we have our carbon fiber mirrors that just look super cool in race car, and really love all of the carbon up against this orange. It is a chef's kiss combo, honestly. And what's super cool, which you do not see often at all, is like this kind of cut in half door design kind of thing. I really like how it kind of breaks up the orange and it's not too plain. They like stuck this carbon right here in the middle, and something really cool, you can just stick your hand right through there. That is so cool. It's different, it's neat, and McLaren did it. So I like how there's kind of like a little separation in between these two whole vents here. And then coming on down the side, we have this oval gas cap that just flows with the aesthetic of the door and fender coming down here. It's not just some plain circle. No way. And now I'm going to show you how to hop inside this McLaren. So to open this door, you see this little separation here of the orange and carbon. There's a little tiny rubber kind of pop button, and then opens up to your glorious butterfly doors once again. And we have these massive door sills to get inside of your car. So you'd kind of have to like sit on them or scoot over them in a way to sit in your actual seat. Those are pretty big. And there's your little tiny trunk button right here on the door as well. And what does it open in this trunk area? Let's see. He's so little! What the heck? Why is it even openable if it's just this? So, what is under here? It looks like we have a water and an oil kind of lid thing, and this doesn't really hold up by itself. So, I mean, you just have to hold it or prop something up, but that's all you get back here for trunk space. Before this video gets going, I need you to go check out me on my socials. I love checking out cars on the side, but I post all of my best content in the links below. Plus, you'll get to see my review of this gorgeous Ferrari 488 Spider. So, starting off on the back end that we really can't open, this is almost as bad as having an EV without a frunk, to be honest. Like, this is a performance car. It is a race car. You want to be able to get into your engine and see it at that, so that is kind of sucky, but nevertheless, at least it has functional vents above it. So this spoiler here does not come with the car standard. This is aftermarket, but boy, does it look cool. And I'm sure it really, really helps with aero. And then under this, we have our flagship McLaren taillights that are of course in the shape of the logo, and then McLaren spelled out, because they want you to know what you are driving, and they want other people to know too, because they are tired of this car being called something else when it is a McLaren. And if we move on down, we do have some aftermarket exhaust on this car, but we are gonna give it a listen because I'm sure it sounds awesome. And this really cool girl, Riley Rays, really needs you to go subscribe to her, so go do that. And underneath there, we have our little reverse camera and our reverse lights that you can hardly see. So let's give it a listen. That definitely sounds like a race car. That exhaust is super nice. And thanks so much to Tampa Auto Gallery for letting me do the review on this McLaren 570s. They have an extensive inventory of exotics and luxury cars, so make sure to check it out. So this car is a twin turbo 3.8 liter V8 making 560 horsepower with a 0 to 60 in 3 seconds with a top speed of 200 plus miles an hour. This is a great entry-level supercar. Like, it kind of introduces you into like those higher levels of supercar. So I feel like this is a great place to start. Now, to open your front trunk of your McLaren 570s, there's a couple options. One, you can use your key button that has the little car on it with the Frunk pop open, and you can press that and it will open up for you. Or there's a little tiny button in your center console with the little Frunk logo. This does not have a latch. It just pops open for you and you just pull it on up. And there we go. We have a nice, super spacious trunk in your supercar. Since you don't get a trunk back there, you got a trunk up here, which I'm so glad that they did. They could have left it plain and gave you nothing, but this is practicality at its finest. So starting off on this left side here, we have this little booklet with a little eye on it, like a little information panel. If you lift it up, you have your steering fluid underneath there, even though it gives you no indication that there's steering fluid under that panel. Popping over to the middle, we have this vent right here as well. I don't really know what it's venting since your motor is in the back, but it is there. And if we come over to this side, we have another little information panel going on. And then underneath that, we have a windshield washer fluid kind of logo. And if you lift up that panel, you get your brake fluid and your windshield washer fluid right underneath there. So coming down into the trunk, you do have a little kind of console area here. We have a light right there. Underneath that is your little kidnap button. And then on the left, you do have a 12 volt if you need to plug anything in. And then on the inside right here against the front, you have a little funnel and where your tow hook would be, but it's just kind of sitting in like it's foam from the manufacturer. Like there's nothing kind of covering that. So that's just there. But this is a very spacious front trunk and I feel like I could fit. Nice and cozy in here. Very roomy. So this 570s is actually one of the most unreliable supercars, and McLaren has had to dig themselves out of this terrible reliability reputation kind of thing, because these were in shops all the time and kind of build their brand better ever since all of this happened. This retail was about $220K, and today you can grab them for about $120,000. So first impressions into the McLaren 570s is just all the carbon fiber. This is a freaking race car. This is awesome. You have like these bolstery kind of nice Alcantara, but like it has the same orange leathery stitching, you know, it looks super cool. And I really love how it pulls that orange all together into the inside. I just like, there's carbon on the doors, there's carbon on your steering wheel, even your little center console screen and following down. This is awesome. It looks super, super sleek. And just touching on a few things though, like you just do kind of get these like kind of plasticky buttons on the side and things like that. I mean, maybe for like weight reduction, weight savings, you know, you want to go fast. You don't really care about the luxury things in this car. So we have our nice little carbon paddle shifters back there. And I really, really like these stalks. Like they're super, super thin. And like they have like these cool holy designs in them. And dude, this thing has cruise control. Are you kidding me? This is a race car. What do you need cruise control for? But that's super cool. I mean, overall, it's just, I mean, it's fine. It's race car. That's all I can really say to it. Like, you do get ample storage, I think, for what you're getting here. It feels spacious. It feels like you're locked in, you know, like these seats feel really nice and bolstery. And I mean, it's a race car, y'all. This is pretty cool. So this is the key you get for your McLaren 570s. It's very basic, just a couple buttons right here. We have our lock button. Our unlock button is the big McLaren logo. And then right here, you can open your little Frunk button once again. Nothing on the back, just this little plain black plastic key. And I'm just gonna start here at the top. So looking out, as visibility would be in your race car, it's awful, okay? Like the humps of the motor part back there, that's like the big plastic kind of piece, is really in your way. And it's just use your backup camera or something. Like, don't rely on this because you really can't see behind you. And we do have like this kind of just plasticky mirror, like from a Toyota Corolla or something like that. Like they could have just did a little bit more. You are paying a lot for this car still. And then we have our visors right here that actually do have little mirrors in them. Nice. You usually don't get mirrors with race cars, but at least they gave you that. So a few things just about the interior center console here. It is a lot to take in at first, I would say. Like there's just a whole bunch of buttons all in one spot. So we do have our engine start stop button, but it's also in black. Like it's not even in red or something like that. Like it just kind of blends in all together. And then we have our drive modes here. So to enable a different drive mode, you do have to hit the active button and then you are able to switch between your drive modes and they will apply to the car. This one right here is for your suspension and this one over here is for your actual driving mode. We do have launch control on this car, of course. And then down here, this is where you will find your other Frunk button if you don't want to use your key. We have a lock button on this really side here, and then we have our do not resuscitate buttons, followed by our hazard. So it's really not a whole bunch, it's just a lot all in one area. And then that follows up to the infotainment that I'm going to show you right now. So one of the first things you get on your gauge cluster before you start the car completely is how many days of parking you get that your battery will like last you without you having to charge your battery. Because a lot of people just leave their cars, you know, just sitting in collections for a while. They don't drive them all the time. So that is a nifty little thing that most cars do not give you. So starting on this infotainment here, this is so basic. Okay, looks just like the new ones. They just have a little better technology. So we get our time, we get our date, we get phone connectivity, you know, radio, media. You do get navigation. Let's click on apps. We get a few things. Browser, you can get on the internet on this thing. What in the world? And then we have our rear camera. Okay, it does not work when the car is off. And then we have weather built into our car. Let's see what that's all about. Okay, powered by Google. Not really telling me anything. That's kind of odd. So it is a little different and weird and like oldie tech, but it is still pretty cool. And I was trying to go subscribe to this really cool YouTuber, Riley Ray's, but it's not working. And for our climate controls, you have a little race car driver as the guy in the climate controls. That is so cool and a nice little touch McLaren. And to just change your, flow of air, make it go faster, you gotta like click all these buttons. Can't really oh, I guess you can. I guess you can scroll it. It was not working just a second ago, but that's pretty cool and it works pretty fast. So it's a very easy and basic infotainment climate control here. So to switch your drive modes, like I said, you have to hit the active button and it has to light up, and then you can actually change to track mode and it changes your gauge cluster accordingly. These are the things you need for track mode, just your miles per hour, your tachometer, all the things you need. So that is pretty cool, but you do have to make sure that button is lit up or it will not change. So this is our normal little mode here. This is just the basic screen. And if we pop through a few of these menus here, we can go down using this little lever on the left side here. You just got some car information things and it's like a back and forth kind of deal. Like you get your suspension or your lifter, ride height. Okay, I don't want to do that. So we go down, there's like some settings, things like that, display, lighting, and if you hit back, and then you get some navigation. What's in this one? Your odometer, your trip, whatever. And then right here, your times, miles per gallon, things like that. So just some really, really basic menus in the gauge cluster, nothing too complicated. So for storage on the inside, you really don't get too much, but these butterfly doors do have little storage pockets in them, which you don't get too often. So right here on the drivers, you just pull it down. There's also one on the passenger door, so you do get that. But going on to the center console, you get one little teeny weeny cup holder here, and then like a little flat spot to just store some small stuff. And then you have another little teeny weeny center console area here. And if you press on this button and lift up, there is a small center console here. And then you get 3 USB plugins back here. That's a lot. Don't know what you need all those for, but they are there. And one other thing is you do not get a glove box at all in this car. And another thing that they have taken away from you are your electric seats. These are completely manual. I'm pulling the lever. Like, I am so not used to that. And then we do have another little storage spot back behind us. And that is this huge shelf that you can actually fit quite a few things on if you need something bigger back there. And it comes with this little teeny weeny net. I don't know what you could put in there, but it's there. So for my 3 favorite features, one has to be on the gauge cluster when it tells you how many days of charge you have left for your battery. I think that is just a nifty little feature, especially if you're not using this car all the time. It is useful. 2, I love the headlight and the taillight design. I love how they just make it look like the Mclaren logo, and it is so different from any other headlights or taillights I've ever seen. And just the overall look and aggressiveness of this car, it just shouts Mclaren, especially in this gorgeous orange. 3 is the butterfly doors, of course. You don't see it too often, even on Lamborghinis and things like that. It is a McLaren thing, and they just do it right. It is such a presence getting out of this car. For my Riley ranking, I'm gonna have to go like a 6.9 on this car. This is a 2016, so I'm sure the reliability issues might still be there. If they haven't gotten fixed, I'm not sure. But just like that little thing in the back of your head, you know, about McLaren. Like, yes, this is the flagship car, but it is like the base model and it is the first one that they made. So it's got its little issues and things like that. But overall, it is super cool and it is a great entry-level supercar, if you would say, because it is only $120,000. But also you have to think of like the wear and tear on the inside. Like, it's really not that old to be looking so kind of beat up. So, sorry McLaren 570s, you're gonna get a 6.9. And if you thought this car was cool, you've got to go check out the others that I have reviewed. With a 200 plus mile per hour. No, hang on. I don't usually say it like that. 3.8 liter, no, hang on. Like still, hold on. I don't even know how to say that. Okay, I think I do. So one of the first, hold on. So this 570S actually, hold on. Okay, so this 570S is actually one of the, God, I can't even think of it right now. Let's click it. Nice and cozy in here, very roomy.